Okay, we're going to take a look at some of the new features in the ratings calculator with the benchmark figures. Looking briefly at the meeting on the 16th of the 10th, 2021. The first new feature is trial and jump out information. So if we have a look at Bendigo race 2, have a look at a horse like Controversial Miss. The new information is shown in this way. So it's 135 days, so that's since it's had its last race start, but then it's 10 days since its last workout. So if we click on the show workouts, we can then see that we've got a jump out information. Now, the jump outs will be described in more detail elsewhere, but very quickly. Some of them tell you the position in running, the number of starters, the distance to track, the jump out. We've included the benchmark figures. Now these are just an approximation, so don't go too berserk on using these as some real indicator of the strength of the race, but they are indicative to an extent of the quality of the jump out. So this horse has won this jump out. In theory, it could run well in this race. Maybe, maybe not. So if you want to add the jump outs and trial information, you need to do that manually. So to add the trial and jump out information, you need to go to the tools, add trials and jump outs, and pick the right day, so Saturday, and then off it'll go with luck. This can take some time to do, and then it'll do the trials, and then it says update completed. You can click OK, or after a few seconds it'll just start on the next thing, the jump outs, which of course are nowhere near as much. So if we return, the jump outs have already been added, so that's just to show you how to do it. If we go back to that race, again, there's various jump out information for other horses. This is the general format, so again, it's got 0 days. Position details. Now some of the jump outs have position details and some of them have no details at all, just simply have the horses ran in that jump out. You can then go to the jump out page and look at those if you want to, but it's more a matter of having the basic information at the moment. So that's the jump outs and trials. The trials also have included benchmark information, and further over there's also the wins and places in, no, it looks like the wins and places are only in the trials, not in the jump out as yet. Anyway, that's coming, but it's not hugely important at the moment. The next feature of interest is the comparisons. Now, there's always been comparisons have been available on this multiple runs, and you could click on this graph and that would produce another window that you could look at, but it is a bit tedious. So now the comparisons are added into another similar tab in the program itself, and you can then have a look at them. So in this case here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 horses that run against each other in this 1800 metre race leading up to this 2000 metre event. So from this information you may then be able to glean, looking at this, El Patronus is in theory winning, but it's gone from barrier 9 to barrier 13, so that may be a negative for it. Gunstock's gone from barrier 5 to barrier 2, so that could be a benefit. This one, Tis Magic's gone from barrier 2 to 6, probably doesn't make that much difference. And Turn It Up Tommy, barrier 3 to 4. So Patronus is probably at disadvantage. Gun Shop, or Gun Stock at least, may be better suited in the race and sign. You can have a look at the other comparisons along the way. So that's a new feature that wasn't in the program. Now, needless to say, you can select the runners. So if we want to go El Patronus, if we can find it, there it is. We've only got one run for that, but for other runners you'll have more than one run. And of course in some races there are other runners that have no comparisons at all. So the comparisons are useful, but not an end all be all in this case. The next thing we're going to show you is the odds review. So the odds review shows you, we're mainly interested, this shows you a breakdown of all the figures, which is probably of limited value, but you may like to go through it. It gives you summary information. There's only a couple of meetings in this particular workout. So if we have a look at Bendigo, you'll see that there is, well, there's not that many. So 33% winners in less than $2.50 and 75% places. So basically what that's telling you is if you're planning to be laying or expecting your horse to run on places less than $2.50, there's a 75% chance that it will run a place, whether that's first, second or third. Well, there's 33% chance that it'll win. So there's another, 42% chance that it'll run second or third. So you can muck around with the figures and so on. Some of these races are very useful. If we have a look at the Caulfield meeting, which will have more runs, you'll see that horses less than $2.50, and these are just the TAB figures, the final TAB figures, 77% places and almost 50% wins. So obviously half of them aren't going to win. So that does give you an opportunity if you're looking for horses to lay. At the same time, half of them are probably going to win, and so that is also useful information. There's also information less than $5, so that's between $2.50 and $5, or above $2.50 and less than $5, between above $5 and less than $10, and so on. And then it's got the favourites, the horses at firm, the horses at ease, and no change, and you can learn a certain amount from those figures. Alright, so you can analyse those yourself. The summary tab's not working as yet. The next thing is the rail changes, which has been in the offing for some time, and it's worked and not worked and worked and not worked. So here it is working, hopefully. So here's the rail changes for Caulfield. So the previous meeting to this, the rail was out 9 metres for the entire circuit. Before that, 0 means the rail was in the true position. And then you have various positions, A being a leader, B being second, G being further back than that, if you can work that one out. And then there's a summary of the information. So for example, in 1,000-metre races, there's only been 2 of them. The winner was not A, B, C, D. It was not in the first 4 at the 400. So in other words, the horses have run home in those 2 races. 2 races by themselves is not that much. The 1,100 metres races, 8 races, 5 winners that were handy, 63% and so on. 1,700 metre races, surprisingly 2 races for 100%, but again it's only 2 races, and 2,400 metres, 3 races for 3 winners in the first 4. So interesting information. Again, it's not an end all be all, but it does give you some information. The next one is day changes. So this meeting hasn't run as yet, and so we don't have too many changes, but what it'll give you is jockey changes, track condition changes, whatever other changes there are, and they'll be in this table here, so that may be useful for you to have a look at, broken down by the changes, and then you can look at a particular track. That may be of some use to you. The next one we're going to look at is the diary. So this is a new feature. The diary allows you to make a note of the sort of bets you've been having. It's not, again, the most fantastic thing, but on the other hand, it's not too bad. So you can include the meetings that you've bet on. You can then include successful or unsuccessful. You can select horses that are going to be put into the comments. And then you can put your total number of bets, the number of successful bets you've had, unsuccessful bets. These are quite good, smart, so how many smart bets you had and how many dumb bets you've had. Alright, so the idea here is we're trying to reduce the number of dumb bets. Again, that's easier to say than to do sometimes. But the idea is if you have a record of this, you can then go back and have a look at it. You also have the quality, how many A, B, C, D, E bets you've taken for the day. The style of bet you're going to have, win or place, overs, exotics, or lay betting, win place, and so on. Alright, so you can then add some various options for what you sort of punting you like to do. So positive moves, so you can add whatever you want to add in, and then that'll be added into these boxes. And then if you keep this over a period of time, you can go back and look at it, and then you can see where maybe your strengths, maybe your weaknesses are, and in that way it's useful. So like what a diary should be, it's basically keeping track of what you've done throughout your punting. Alright, so the idea here is that you hopefully learn as you go along and try to fix anything you're doing wrong, and also to highlight the things you're doing right and try to focus on those. So that's the diary, and of course the thing that's always been here for quite some time is the planner. The planner is quite useful in terms of if you're going to do something for the day, or you've got some theory or assumption that you've made in a particular race, and then you want to go back and check it later. It's amazing how many times you'll be thinking a particular thing, and then later on you'll be thinking, oh, I wonder how that horse went, or something like that. You can put it in the planner, and then at the end of the day come back and see how you went, or you can check out your assumption or whatever else you're doing. So some useful things to use here, the diary and the planner. You might take some of the features that you've got in the planner and put it into the diary so you can refer to it later. The main way of using this is to make changes to your betting so that you don't make the same mistake. Most punters, and we're all like that, we tend to make the same mistake time and time again. So again, if you write it down somewhere and you keep looking at it, then there's a chance you'll improve, or you won't make the same mistake as often, or not again. There are a number of other changes that have been made to the program. Reliability is improved, and the markets and so on have been changed slightly. But overall, they're the sort of major things that you can use probably straight away. Incorporate those into your punting. And that's about it for this video. Hopefully it's been some use for you.